This is a HeadGum podcast.
Hey all, if you've been listening to this show for a while, you've probably heard us talk about our Helix mattresses. Delightful slumber on those bad boys. Well, Helix has left the bedroom and started making sofas. They just launched a new company called Allform, and they're already making the best sofas we've ever seen or sat on. So what makes an Allform sofa really cool? And I'm the authority on cool. For starters, it's the easiest way you can customize a sofa using premium materials and at a fraction of the cost of traditional stores. You can pick your fabric, and it's spill, stain, and scratch resistant, which makes it great for kids, pets, and mess eaters alike. Looking at you, Spoon Nation. The sofa color, the color of the legs, sofa size, and shape to make sure it's perfect for you and your home. They've got armchairs and love seats all the way up to an 8-seat sectional, so there's something for everyone. And you can always start small and buy more seats later on if you want your Allform sofa to grow and change with you when you move. I used to have a baby sofa. Now I got a grown-up sofa. Allform sofas are also delivered directly to your home with fast, free shipping. In the past, if you wanted to order a sofa, it could take weeks or even months to arrive, and you would need someone to come and assemble it in your home. Allform just takes 3 to 7 days to arrive in the mail, and you can assemble it yourself in a few minutes. No tools needed. I'm not handy. I'm no Tim Taylor. But you know what? We have an Allform sofa. Charcoal, espresso legs. It's a 3-seater. Big and roomy, comfy. The setup was so easy. It took 10 minutes. And it looks great, but it's also really comfortable, which is the most important thing when it comes to a piece of furniture, especially a sofa. You want that bad boy to be comfy. It's the comfort of the Helix mattress in the living room. And if getting a sofa without trying it in store sounds a little risky, you don't need to worry. You get 100 days to decide if you want to keep it. That's more than 3 months. You don't have to consult a calendar. Trust me on that. And if you don't love it, they'll pick it up for free and give you a full refund. They even offer a forever warranty. Literally forever. This thing will outlive God. To find your perfect sofa, check out allform.com/doughboys. And Allform is offering 20% off all orders for our listeners at allform.com/doughboys. Well-known technology leaders who have seen it claim the invention is more significant than the internet or the PC. This is from a January 2001 piece about a mysterious device then called IT, or IT, created by Dean Kamen, a virtuosic inventor whose previous patents included the automated insulin pump. With tech impresarios Steve Jobs and Jeff Bezos serving as investors and advocates, it was pitched as poised to transform the world, with cities redesigned around it and Kamen on track to become the wealthiest man on Earth. Today, it's difficult to convey exactly how much hype surrounded it, and just how deflated the public was by the ultimate reveal. It, or IT, was in fact the individual transport, a motorized scooter marketed to the public as the Segway. Far from its revolutionary promise, the Segway ended up as a mildly successful novelty mostly used by dorkwad tourists. Famously, a visual punchline is the chariot of Paul Blart Mall Cop. But though the Segway never lived up to the impossible hype of it, inventor Kamen continued to conceive new devices, including a water purifier targeted at the developing world, named Slingshot. A pre-built box with the ability to filter clean water for up to 300 people per day while using, quote, less electricity than a hairdryer, end quote. The ambitious device needed the know-how of a global partner to reach populations in need. And so Kamen approached the largest beverage distributor in the world, Coca-Cola. The makers of Coke and countless other beverages were intrigued, but, being asshole capitalists, weren't about to just help people for nothing. So in exchange for building and distributing his next-gen water filter, Coca-Cola enlisted Kamen in the creation of their Smart Soda Fountain, featuring a touchscreen and dozens of options. First released in 2009 and becoming a movie theater lobby staple, the Coke Kamen Deal with the Devil proved a lasting hit with children and childlike adults enamored by the seemingly endless liquid sugar combinations. In fact, 127, according to Serious Eats. Today, with machines in 16 countries, a new version released in 2019, and a Pepsi-branded clone gaining steam, the sleek cherry red Smart Fountain seems here to stay. As for the machine once called IT, usurped by a new generation of smaller, app-powered rental scooters, in June of last year, the Segway ended production for good. This week on Doughboys, Coca-Cola Freestyle. Welcome to Doughboys, the podcast about chain restaurants. I'm Nick Weiger, along with my co-host, a sniper's dream, the Spoon Man, Mike Mitchell.
Okay.
A little bit of a thinker.
That's a little bit of a thinker?
Because you got a big noggin.
Yeah, no shit. How is that a thinker?
I think it just takes a second to be, why would this man be a sniper's dream? And then he's like, oh, because he's an easy target, because he's got that lollipop form factor. This big melon sitting on top of his shoulders.
You think I'm a lollipop? You think I have a lollipop form factor?
Well, that was courtesy of Harry from Salisbury, England. roastspoonman@gmail.com. Boy, rough times in England.
Did you say Harry from England, Wags?
Harry from England wrote in, I'm upset about the Euro final. I thought football was coming home. I wish we had Prince Andrew right now. We need him more than ever.
I was going to go in a Harry Potter direction. I just didn't.
Oh, that's good.
I just didn't want to. I just didn't want to do it.
I ride a broom, and me wife is Meghan Markle.
Wait a minute. Prince Harry. I think he's a piece of shit. I don't like any of the.
I thought that was a fun angle.
I don't like any of the royals. And I also think this Harry guy is a piece of shit.
Oh, got it.
Wags, I'm thrown off. You downloaded a virus to my fucking laptop, so I don't know.
How dare you? I didn't download a virus to your laptop.
I did your podcast. How did this get played?
That's right.
Please come and do my podcast. Fine, whatever. I did the podcast. You said, here, download this emulator. Mm-hmm. And then today, I turn on my laptop, everything's gone haywire.
That's not the reason. You downloading an emulator is not the reason your Apple OS, your Mac OS did a systems update. Those are unrelated things.
I think something happened. I think you downloaded I think you put a virus in my system. I
would never.
Fucking bug chaser.
like computer viruses? A bug chaser for computer viruses?
That's right.
That's kind of a fun cyborg angle. Haven't seen that in a dystopian sci-fi thriller.
Have you, as a bug chaser, have you caught the Delta variant yet, or no? You've been searching for it.
I'm trying. I'm out there.
Isn't there like an Omega now? Isn't there an Omega strain? Oh, he's frozen. Look, your virus finally did all your bug chasing finally did you in.
Yeah, he's completely frozen to me.
Sadly, it's a tech glitch day. I'm telling you, something weird is going on.
Yeah, I know.
What the fuck?
Mitch, you spoke it into existence as you were talking about me being a bug chaser, trying to get some sort of cybernetic toxin. My computer, my internet shut down.
The V-Man, the virus man, Wags, you've gotten into the system. You've corrupted the system today.
And like a lawnmower man.
You're like a lawnmower man.
At one point, every phone in the world will ring at once, and then when you pick up, it'll be me saying, "Hey, buddy."
I was gonna try to jump on that joke before you could say it, but hi, buddy. Hey, Nick, is that you? I'll gladly talk to you. Then the phone hangs up, just a dial tone.
Yeah, no, I don't have time for that. Mitch, we have a fantastic guest who has been waiting a long time because both of us had tech issues. But I know you have a drop to play. Let's play a drop and let's get on with this nonsense.
All right, howdy ho to Spoon Nation. Ugh. Here we go. Here's a little drop, Wags. We are mostly a counting podcast. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Nice counting, Mitch.
Well, there we go.
Classic Sesame Street song.
Classic Sesame Street song. Inspired by Mitch's amazing counting skills from Arby's 3 with Larry Fong. Love you all.
Wow.
Chad from the Discord.
Hi, Chad.
Thank you, Chad. Chad and the Virgin. I'm the Virgin in this scenario.
Yeah, we both are. Mitch, we should introduce our guest from the Chris Gethard Show and the podcast Beautiful Anonymous. His new special, Chris Gethard Half My Life, is streaming now. Chris Gethard is here. Hi, Chris.
So happy to finally be here. Thank you guys for having me. And can I just put something out here right away?
Please.
Yes, please.
I'm telling you this seriously. I've had many people ask me over the years, how come you ain't been on the Doughboys, man? And I've said, I don't know. And I've had people actually say to me, what is it about you that makes the Doughboys so nervous? And I've had people tweet things at me where they have said, why are the Doughboys seemingly scared of you? And I've never known the answer, and I'm glad to finally be able to ask you face to face.
I can answer it. One, we're afraid of everyone.
Okay.
2, it's funny in the guest world. First of all, there's so many people that we haven't had on and still need to get on. There's probably someone who is like, what the fuck? Like a friend, a person who we're friendly with, who we haven't had on, who's like what the fuck are these two doing?
Yes.
You haven't had us on, you pieces of shit. But with you specifically, it was more of a New York, LA issue because we used to be we were an in-person podcast for the longest time, and we would do it all in studio. But now, I mean, this is a dumb thing that we should have thought of long before COVID, is that you could just fucking record over the internet.
Well, yeah, and by we you mean like all of podcasting, because
until
we
fucking Lawnmower Man puts his fucking bug in there and destroys everything.
We weren't unique in that. I feel like every podcast I ever guested on, I was going to a physical studio and sitting down with. I was going to like Studio City and sitting down with someone in a recording studio. And now it's just like, well, yeah, we didn't need to do that. We obviously didn't need to do that, but just no one thought of it.
And I knew in my heart that the answer was that I am located 3,000 miles away from your recording facility. But it's always because I very publicly have been obsessive about soda for many years. And I've really, so every time you guys do a soda thing is when that's the truth, is people are like, they got to have you on to talk about soda. And I'm like, well, I live in New Jersey, and that makes it tough. It tough. And I always understood that, but I had to give you some shit about it.
Of course. Well, now here's the thing. Is that now that we do these things online, we're getting great guests like yourself. You got you this week.
Pieces of shit you used to have to settle for.
It's true. These fucking Z-list celebrity guests. Now next week we got Hanks next week, right? Wags, we got Tom Hanks
coming in.
Have you told Connor Ratliff?
He'll find out.
Yeah, he'll find out.
And then next week we got Chet Hanks. So we got the Hanks twofer. That'll be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Warming up with Tom to get yourself
start
ready
with
for
Tom.
Chet, yeah.
You are a soda enthusiast. You say soda
Obsessive.
as someone from the East Coast.
Yeah.
No Colin, huh?
We all say soda, right?
We just never get Colin Hanks. It's just Tom and Chet.
Colin passed.
Colin, the one adjacent to the Comedy World, he doesn't want to come on.
He doesn't eat
doesn't
food.
wanna do it.
Notoriously, he's not into food. He only drinks Soylent. No opinions on food whatsoever.
Wags, you were interested in Soylent for a while, right? And then you found out that it wasn't people, and you were like, no, thank you.
All right. I've honestly never understood, and Chris, maybe you'll have an opinion on this. I've never understood the appeal of Soylent, because for me, like, eating and drinking is one of life's great joys. And why deprive yourself of a meal just for pure, liquid sustenance? Why not just, even if you're gonna, I want to eat healthy, just eat a healthy meal that tastes good. Why do you have to drink this fucking goop? I don't know, Chris, have you ever messed around with Soylent or anything?
I know one person in my life who did Soylent for a while. He's a comedian. I bet a lot of people have. My friend Julio Torres was drinking Soylent for a while when we used to work together, which I feel like if you know Julio and his vibe and his work, you're like, okay, that actually makes sense, because you're sort of like you're almost like an ethereal being from a different world. But yeah, for me, I went. I mean, I went vegetarian, and that was hard. That felt limiting. So I can't imagine only limiting myself to like semi-flavorless milkshakes.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, are you still vegetarian?
I am. I stopped eating red meat because of my stomach, and then I felt so much better. And then I was down to just seafood, and I love seafood. But my wife's been vegetarian for 30 years, so I wasn't going to cook fish around the house and like stink up the house with fish. I would only get it at restaurants. So then after the quarantine, the pandemic went on for so long that I was like, oh, I haven't eaten an animal in like a year and change. I guess I just won't anymore. So I'm a vegetarian now.
Wow. I went vegetarian this year in 2021, and I will say that I've done pretty well adapting to not having meat. The things I miss the most, which I've said on this podcast, are just like the texture of like fried chicken. Like you can't really quite replicate that. But then also like fish, as more time has passed, I was like, man, I might end up reintegrating fish into my diet, because it's just the biggest issue is that the protein sources that you have available are so dull. Like I'm just getting so tired of just like soy and beans, you know?
Yeah. I don't know how you feel. I find that Beyond Meat and the Beyond and Impossible thing's been a lifesaver, especially.
Yes.
And I bet you've covered it already on the show, but the Impossible Whopper's pretty good. And I think the White Castle Impossible sliders are great. As a guy who grew up in North Jersey, when they came out with those and I said, oh, I can taste White Castle again in my life, I almost wanted to cry, because that's White Castle to a New Jersey guy is like a pretty important thing.
Wow.
Why? 'Cause you must like jackfruit, right? I'm just the name alone.
I've had jackfruit a few times as a protein. Yeah, it works pretty well. The texture is pretty decent. I mean, I don't know how much protein it has. I think it's more of just I think it's a little bit carby. But yeah, I agree with you. The Beyond Meat is great. I have that. I'll make like a vegan bolognese. That's a nice little comfort food. And then Impossible Whopper is a home run.
Can I quickly ask, when people say jackfruit, do you think of apple? Do you think of like an apple?
I think of an apple. I think of cutting a hole in an apple and putting my dick in it. That's what I think of, Mitch, when someone says jackfruit.
You really insisted on that, Mitch.
Just to update you, Weiger had fucked an apple at one point in his life.
When I was younger, yes.
Everybody's fucked something weird.
Right.
Everybody's. But Mitch, I have to say, I watched this man find his way so gracefully out of that conversation, and I watched you
pull it back,
jam your foot into that door before it could close, and get that joke through. So kudos to you both, I guess.
Thank you. I was very happy.
That's our
to get
dynamic.
It in there.
That's our magic.
Wags, Beyond Chicken just came out.
Yes, I haven't had Beyond Chicken yet.
I haven't had it yet either.
I've had like a fake chicken. I can't remember what it's called. It's not the Gardein one. There's a different brand that I've had that's decent. I don't know. I mean, it's I 100% like ethically. The case for going vegetarian or vegan is very sound. I do feel like it starts to just as a continuing diet. It comes to be a little bit of a chore at times. Mm-hmm. And I didn't feel it as much the first few months of this year, but as we pass the half year point, I'm like getting a little bored with some of my options.
Have you had the Gardein crabless cakes?
No.
Those are pretty good. That's the best seafood I have found.
Wow.
Thus far. They got these crab cakes. Pretty good.
That's Wags. So fish might come back. You miss chicken?
Yeah, I do miss chicken.
Do you think that you'll come back with chicken? Do you think red meat's gone forever? What are you feeling now? Is it?
I feel like right now, great question, Mitch. I feel like red meat is my red line. I don't feel like I'm going back to eating red meat, especially with just like how damaging it is ecologically, like the production of red meat. I don't think I will ever fully do that. But I could see myself being like, yeah, just no red meat, and that's my diet, and then minimize consuming other animal proteins. But I honestly don't know. I'm gonna suss that all out at year's end. But
Wags,
I do.
I'm going to eat red meat for the both of us. The red meat that you would have eaten.
I stopped eating red meat because of my stomach issues, and I can't. I feel freedom to be a little, no offense to you fellas, classless on this show. I spent so much less time on the shitter when I stopped eating red meat. It was remarkable. It was very quick how much of my day I got back because my poopies were smoother.
I feel like I don't even know what you could do to be classless on this show. I don't know what level you'd have to see. I have no idea what level you'd have to sink to be classless here. Wags, do you agree with that statement?
Well, yeah. I mean, we have Apple fucking in minute 10. So where do you go from here?
Yes, you have a bunch of guys who can't figure out how computers work talking about fucking apples. I think I'm good.
I do want to ask about White Castle, because you mentioned that White Castle we visited. We've done it only once on the podcast because it's not out here on the West Coast, but you're a big fan of it.
Chris, I have a hot take with White Castle, but first, let's hear what you think of it, and then I'll tell you my hot take. Which
I just love it. I mean, look, I'm from North Jersey, which is everything is about grease. I mean, I think we have some of the world's greatest hot dogs. We have obviously the Taylor ham pork roll thing that everybody's heard about. We have our own type of breakfast meat here, but everything's just like grease all the time. There's Italian hot dogs and Texas wieners, which are two types of hot dogs only found in New Jersey. So like, point being, grease pit food, like Jersey diners, late night, greasy food. Everything's greasy food. And it really is. White Castle is just truly embraced here. And it's a thing where when you're growing up, you kind of always know where the closest one is. When I went to Rutgers University, we knew, okay, South Plainfield or Edison, depends on the time of the day for traffic, which one's going to be easier to get to. And I love them. I think Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle is like one of the most Jersey movies of all time because of that. Like, although it's funny, you watch that movie with Jersey people, and I guarantee you'll be like, man, these guys, these fucking liars. Now they're at Princeton. They wound up at Princeton and they're on the quest for White Castle. Well, weird, because you had to go down Route 1 and there's 2 on Route 1. So let's not bullshit us, guys. So we take it pretty seriously, and I just think they're great. I think they're really great.
I need to try more White Castle because I haven't had a lot of White Castle in my life. My experience with White Castle, I shouldn't say I haven't had a lot of it, because my experience with White Castle is the frozen White Castle burgers that you microwave. And I got to tell you, my hot take is that I think those are better than White Castle.
So wait, you've only had the frozen ones, but you're saying they're better than the ones you haven't had?
I've only had the frozen ones, and we did the White Castle. We went to White Castle once for the podcast.
Oh, got it.
And so my hot take after that was that I think the frozen microwave White Castles are better than the actual White Castle.
Well, that's an insane thing to say. That's the actual opinion of a person who's either insane or just needs to be contrarian, like a fucking David Spade SNL bit. Like that's an insane thing to say.
Look, a falling star. That's my David Spade's SNL. No one remembers that? He got in trouble for saying that about Eddie Murphy?
Right. That's why Eddie Murphy wouldn't do the show for years.
He wouldn't do the show for years.
Yeah.
What was the context?
They just showed like a picture of Eddie Murphy, and he's like, "Look," or like a falling star, make a wish or something, right? It was something along those lines.
Okay.
Yeah. He used to do those, like, sit at the Weekend Update desk, be super cynical, Hollywood Minute opinions, right?
Yeah. I was trying to think of like what his catchphrase was in Hollywood Minute, and that's all I could think of was that line, basically.
Just a lot of him being like, really? Yeah. And it's like, and look, David Spade's a talented guy.
I liked it.
I'm not slamming David Spade, but it was like that cynical 90s comedy went away of just like, let's just be cynical as hell for the sake of it. And that's the only reason I can think that you'd try to claim a microwaved White Castle is better than off the grill.
By the way, I think that the microwave White Castles are good. Like I think they're like one of the best I think it's maybe the only good microwave burger. Like I really, really, really like them.
Can I ask what time of day you guys went to White Castle?
We went for like a late lunch. We basically got into New York City. We went to a location was it on Manhattan, Mitch? Or did we have to go
the one
to
just
Brooklyn?
south of Penn Station, did you?
I don't think we went to that one. I think we had to go to one in Brooklyn.
The one in Williamsburg?
Shaking your head. Yeah.
Oh, I know. It was right near there was an NBC show, Sunny. What was this show? Sunny. Remember the show Sunnyvale or something, or Sunny?
No.
Well, it was an NBC show for for one season. You don't remember the show? Welcome to Sunny. And they were all the
Sunnydale.
Oh, Sunnyside.
Sunnyside.
Oh, you went to the one on Queens Boulevard?
Yes.
Okay, so we went to Queens.
Yes, because we probably made Entourage, This Is Queens Boulevard jokes, I'm sure. We're hacks.
As someone who lived in Queens for many years, you went to the one at the corner of 48th Street and Queens Boulevard, I believe.
This is great having a guy who knows New York maybe more than anyone. That you can, I love here. Yeah, I think that is what it was.
It's right by the turnoff of Queens Boulevard where you're going to get on Roosevelt Avenue. That's a good White Castle. I've been there many times.
Across from the train. I mean, well, I guess
right next to the 7 train. Yes, right next to the 7 train with the elevated train. Yeah, no, that's a quality White Castle. So I can't sit here and pretend you didn't go to a good one. There's something to be said also for like the cultural context of White Castle being, when you fall in love with White Castle, it's going to be because this is like, you've packed 6 guys into a 5-person car in high school. It's 2:30 in the morning. You're high and you're drunk. Like there's that side of White Castle too.
Yeah.
So maybe there's some nostalgia there, but to like the microwave ones better is crazy. That's crazy.
A late night. I've never had like a late night White Castle while drunk. We also we tried a lot of. Remember we did surf and turf. We did some fucked up shit.
Yes,
that was the surf and turf White Castle.
It was it was like a breaded fish fillet plus a beef patty with cheese on the same bun.
Yeah.
Well, then
that was
So that's like one of the more gimmicky items. Did you have?
Those are one of the gimmicky items.
Did you have just a regular slider with cheese?
We got original sliders. I've got our order up right here. We got chicken and waffle sliders. We did get the impossible sliders, although they came plain.
Oh, that's right. They came plain.
Yeah, you got to get them with cheese. Cheese.
Yeah, they came plain. And also there was a rep from White Castle in the audience that night, and basically the whole show was just being like, people were being mean to White Castle on stage.
Oh no!
And not even me. I don't even think I was that mean, was I? I feel like I was. I think
remember.
That just having a representative there shows you what a coward I was. That I was probably like 5 forks. I liked it. I need more time with White Castle. I need more experiences with White Castle, which I will have at some point. Yes. I believe
White Castle is also a thing. You don't necessarily eat it at the White Castle. You get like a Crave case and you eat it with all your college roommates. It's that type of thing. It's that type of thing.
Now, Chris, you're a new. Oh God, I'm gonna sneeze. I'm gonna sneeze. Why?
Give me a second. Mitch just sneezed away from Mike. I don't know if that got picked up.
A fear that how has that never happened? All the time we've recorded Doughboys, I've never been so afraid that a sneeze was coming on.
You sounded so scared when you.
I knew it was. I knew it was happening.
If people rewind to you first saying, "Wags, I'm gonna sneeze," it sounds so. You sound so scared. It's such a moment of real panic. Emotion.
There's. I won't say who it was, but we listened to the Birthday Boys, we listened to someone's podcast and they sneezed on it. Actually, Emma, just bleep this, okay? It was, but we listened to a podcast and this person sneezed on it and we laughed about it more than anything on earth. Like it was the funniest thing to ever hear is like a person being like, "Welcome to the show." Achoo! Sneezing on Mike.
They sneezed up top?
He sneezed up top. Intro? He sneezed up top, and people are going to try to find it. You'll never find it, but it's that sort of thing of I've always been afraid of sneezing on Mike, and it just happened to me, Wags, and it never. Wow. The virus has come out of the computer and it's coming to me.
Man, that's the natural progression. These things
That's
evolve.
Right. Anyways, Chris, I was going to say you're a New York guy through and through. In many ways, I'm jealous that I came straight to LA from upstate New York. I didn't go to the city. I came straight here to LA. And so you got to know food. I was just on a Brooklyn pizza tour. Do you have favorite pizza spots? You got favorite spots in New York that you eat at that LA could never replicate? I mean, a lot of them, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely. First of all, I would say I'm a Jersey guy through and through. For people who know, even when I lived in New York for 16 years, but I was always a proud kind of Jersey champion. But there's definitely spots. Like, I mean, I think the famous ones are like DeFara's. That's the one everybody's heard of because it's this like very elderly man who makes each pie by hand right in front of you. There's Paulie G's. There's a lot of. I mean, L&B Spumoni Gardens is incredible, especially for the Sicilian pie. Totono's in Staten Island is great. Those are some.
Totono's was closed when I went. We went to L&B. We went to Devara's. We went to a new place, F&F Pizzeria, which was really, really great.
Yes, I think Totono's. I think their thing is they just make a certain amount of dough in the morning, and when they run out of dough, they close for the day.
This is coming off of COVID, and they said they were going to open up like a month later. They had been shut down. Yeah, but I want to go back to try that and John's of Bleecker and stuff like that. And that's right. I buried you as a New York guy, just in the way that you were you were loyal to the New York comedy scene, which is
New
great.
York comedy scene for sure. But Jersey guy, and there was actually just a lot of fighting in the tri-state area because. A lot of people say Connecticut has the best pizza because of all the New Haven pizza, which is awesome. But then
it is good.
Some publication, a national publication, just said actually Jersey has taken the crown. Jersey has the best pizza, and we do have. I mean, the Star Tavern in Orange, Patsy's in Patterson, the Reservoir Tavern in Boonton. Like there's great pizza all over the state of New Jersey too. So yeah.
Oh yeah, there's great. All the food in that area is fantastic, including Nick, my Boston, and Pizzeria Regina, which is very good. But Chris, I got to say this too. You're also I shouldn't say a believer, but like you always talked about the weird side of New Jersey, like
yeah. Well, I worked at a magazine called Weird New Jersey for many years, for like half a decade of my life. So people who don't know Jersey might not know that there's a big culture here of when you're a teenager, you get your license. As soon as your first friend gets your license, you go and you just like go to places that are haunted, abandoned. That's a very, very big and important piece of the puzzle of growing up in New Jersey is like you're going to break into the abandoned mental hospital. You're going to go to the Devil's Tree, the Gates of Hell, the Devil's Tower, Clinton Road. These are all places that I'm naming where Jersey people listening are like, yup, been there. Wow. So yeah, but that kind of tells you a lot about the food culture too, because a lot of weekend nights in Jersey are like, okay, like our buddy, my buddy Jeremy, his mom's letting him borrow the car for tonight. We're going to drive to Totowa because we're going to go try to see if we can get the little people to come out of their houses at Midgetville. That's right near Annie's Road where there's the blood streak on the road from the girl who got killed. And then if we're going to be out on Route 46 anyway, we can probably hit up the Park West Diner or the Versailles Diner or the Six Brothers Diner, depending on sort of which end of Route 46 we end up on. And that's a conversation that anybody in a certain area of North Jersey will just go like 100% standard weekend night just described, and they know they will not only know the location of all three of those diners, but they'll know that two of them have since closed since my childhood.
Wow. This is I'm a man who fears the devil, and I believe in the supernatural. I believe in a lot of this stuff. Weiger makes fun of me quite a bit for my fear of the devil. But are there any of those spots that you visited that like stand out as particularly like terrifying?
There's a lot, dude. I would love nothing more than to invite you to New Jersey and we could drive around tonight and I could bring you.
I would love it.
Just to places that you can supposedly summon the devil at specifically.
Dear God.
The Devil's Tower is in Alpine, New Jersey. That's one that if you drive around it 6 times backwards, the devil's supposed to come out and appear. The Gates of Hell, that one I mentioned, that's in Clifton, New Jersey. That's like this tunnel where supposedly if you go into this tunnel and keep going down and down, you can get to hell. And then, of course, and then we have the Jersey Devil, which is like the big one, who's like the actual, creature that lives in the southern half of New Jersey. But yeah, we could spend a good weekend where I could scare the shit out of you and we could eat a lot of good food.
I love that. That's
a series.
Let's plan on it. Yeah, I love the sound of that. Why? Because I feel like if you drove around 6 times backwards, the devil will show up and he'll be like, "Hey, buddy."
We'll be back with more Doughboys. This summer, get the most out of your travels by learning the language of your destination with Babbel, the #1 selling language learning app. From ordering in restaurants or asking for directions, to gain a deeper understanding of the culture, Babbel makes the whole process of learning a new language addictively fun and easy. With bite-sized lessons you can actually use in the real world, Babbel is a can't-miss travel essential. I've been using Babbel. I'm eating it right up. I've always wanted to learn Spanish. improve upon the small amount I learned in high school when I was paying half attention. Now I'm focused. I've got an app that works great. And you know what? I'm making progress. Babbel's 15-minute lessons make it the perfect way to learn a new language on the go. Unlike the infamous language classes you took in school, looking at you, Senor Thompson, Babbel designs their courses with practical, real-world conversations in mind, things you'll get to use in everyday life. Other language learning apps use AI for their lesson plans, but Babbel lessons were created by over 100 language experts. Their teaching method has been scientifically proven to be effective. With Babbel, you can choose from 14 different languages, including Spanish, French, Italian, and German. Plus, Babbel's speech recognition technology helps you to improve your pronunciation and accent. There's so many ways to learn with Babbel. In addition to lessons, you can access podcasts, games, videos, stories, and even live classes. That's right, live classes. Right now, when you purchase a 3-month Babbel subscription, you'll get an additional 3 months for free. That's 6 months for the price of 3. Just go to Babbel.com and use promo code Doughboys. That's BABBEL.com, code Doughboys, for an extra 3 months free. Welcome to StockX. Thought I was going to say Jurassic Park, didn't you? It's kind of entrenched in all of our memories. That famous line said by John Hammond. No, this isn't some sort of misguided amusement park where prehistoric creatures have been brought back to life via genetic engineering, but it is something of a wonderland. StockX is the only live marketplace for what's now and what's next. Whether it's the latest sneakers, apparel, electronics, collectibles, or trading cards. Everyone's trading cards crazy these days. I don't just mean NFTs, physical trading cards. Marketplace has exploded. Everything on StockX is brand new and 100% verified authentic, which is what you want to hear if you're a collector. With StockX, you have the power to shop millions of hard-to-find or sold-out products at their true market value. Discover products that are on trend and ahead of the trends by shopping on StockX. Download the app or sign up online to start buying and selling in a few easy clicks. Start shopping at StockX.com. That's StockX.com. Clever girl. Also from the movie. Welcome back to Doughboys. We are here with our guest, Chris Gethard, noted soda enthusiast, discussing this week's topic, Coca-Cola Freestyle. This is a touchscreen soda fountain with over 160 combinations, first launched in 2009, designed, Mitch, by an Italian automotive design firm called Pininfarina.
You're trying to get my blood to boil?
Which famously has a problem with Italians and the devil. And they updated a version with mobile support in 2019, which I was able to take advantage of. But before we get into this specifically...
Wow, you tried the mobile version.
Oh, yeah, I do. It's a wild scene. But before we get into this, Chris, I'm just curious, because you mentioned your soda enthusiasm. How did you get so into this these bubbly sweet delights, and what are your favorites?
Well, I stopped drinking alcohol in my when I was 21 years old. It was not. Okay. I just knew, and I've seen enough in my family. I was like, this ain't for me. But I need to be addicted to something, and at a certain point, I started realizing that there's like glass bottles of soda, and you can get those. And then if you go to a party with drinkers, you have a glass bottle in your hand, and because I find actually it makes other people uncomfortable if you're not, like, I was actually always pretty comfortable not drinking at a party, but it makes other people, it just kind of, I think, like, subtly removes a discomfort from other people. So to have these drinks, and there was one that was going around New York many years ago. It's really great. It's a ginger ale called Bruce Cost Fresh Ginger Ale, and it has chunks of ginger floating in it. It was in like every deli, every bodega, and I found that very interesting. And then I started just realizing there were more options, and I just kind of obsessively got into it. When I go to LA, my favorite place is Galco's, which I'm sure you guys have been to Galco's before, the soda supermarket. And at one point, I would honestly go so far as to say that you weren't going to find a better collection of soda. I mean, probably I'm not going to claim best in the world, but like I was probably up there as far as one of the better collections of soda. And my wife told me like we can't keep making movers move all these bottles of liquid. You have to just drink these things. As far as my favorites go, my favorite soda of all time is a drink called Mr. Cucumber, spelled with the Q. Mr. Cucumber. Not shocked that you guys have heard of it. I think it's delicious. There's another one that's a ginger-based drink out of Kentucky called Ale 81. I really love that. As far as root beers go, the Virgil's Special Edition Bavarian Nutmeg is great. I think Sprecher's, all of their sodas are really good, specifically their cream soda. The only Achilles heel is that their ginger ale, they make all their sodas with honey, which is really amazing for sweet flavors, but they make their ginger ale with honey. It just doesn't work. Colas, I really like Fentiman's Cherry Cola as far as colas go. So I could talk about it all day, and I have a lot of strong opinions on soda. I also think soda, strangely, is kind of one of the most American things ever invented. I think you can track the history of sodas, and it kind of tells the whole history of American capital. Like Grapette alone was like this very small run grape soda that like started with just like one guy had an idea, and he was this like trying to get rich quick guy with a grape soda recipe, and then it got bought out by a series of different conglomerates, and then it got crushed, but then it turned out that one of the guys from the Walmart family, the Waltons, really liked it, so he bought Grapette's rights and started bottling it again because he loved it so much. And I'm like, that's the idea, that you can start out as like one person's effort to make it in America and then go through a whole saga of decades of like corporate buyouts and getting buried by your corporate foes, and then the richest family in America revives your soda because the one guy, because Sam Walton liked Grapette growing up. There's something that's just like so intrinsically the American story in there.
Yeah.
So I just love it. I just love soda so much. And the as far as the ones you can get on supermarket shelves, I got my opinions on which ones of those are good. And as far as like which of the glass bottled cane sugar sodas, I could go all day. But those are some of my favorites. Ale 81. If you like a sweet ginger ales, I really like Werner's, which everybody in Detroit drinks. There's a whole bunch. I could talk all day. But Mr. Cucumber is top of the hill to me.
Sam Richardson, big Werner's fan. I recent guest. He loves Werner's. I love soda as well. I know some sodas. I know some deep sodas. I know some underground sodas, but I don't have the knowledge you have. That's impressive. But
what are your go-tos here, Mitch?
Well, so I always just try to drink diet sodas now. I'm very boring these days, but I'll do a diet Sunkist. I loved Sunkist growing up, and I love grape sodas and orange sodas, but I think Coca-Cola is maybe like the perfect product. Like I love an ice cold Coca-Cola. I think it is like the perfect drink. I know that it's an evil company. I know that it's bad for you, especially since they pure cane sugar Coke is not as bad as the high fructose corn syrup ones, I guess. But I've always, that's like my death meal or whatever. My final meal would be, my drink would be a Coca-Cola. Like I love Coke. I love a cherry Coke when I go and see a movie. But as far as like deep sodas, stuff I like, I don't even know if I can name any off the top of my head. Like I just, when you were saying some there, I was like, oh yeah, I've had that and it's good. But I'm not a person who like goes out of his way to buy sodas because I should never have them. So I'm always just kind of picking from like the boring Diet Cokes or whatever I get when I get a salad at lunch. But even that I shouldn't drink. But I'm a fan of Squirt, Wags. I like Squirt. I like Cactus Cooler for ones that are a little bit less mainstream, even those are pretty mainstream compared to what you said. But I feel like when you go to in LA, if you go to like Cactus Taqueria, you have the option of getting like a Cactus Cooler or a what's it called? What did I just say? Cactus Cooler or the other one, Squirt, which usually are not options at other places. So.
Yeah, I'm with Mitch in the sense of just like I can't keep liquid sugar in my house because I already am battling my weight, and that's just like the work. Like that's an ongoing battle, and I'll just fucking drink all of it. I'll drink. I had a point where I had to switch to diet sodas, and then I got off diet sodas entirely because I just like I felt that feels also bad for your health. But I was literally drinking like 6 RC colas a day, just full sugar colas, just taking down a 6-pack every day. Yeah, Royal Crown Cola.
What led to the Royal Crown obsession?
It was what my dad bought when I was growing up, and I think
grew up in the Northeast.
No, I think it was just the cheapest one. My dad is cheap as shit, and so we had a lot of RC Cola, and then also Pepsi products in the house. We were a Pepsi family, but I always liked RC better than Pepsi, and so I was just having so much of that I just can't keep it in the house anymore. It has to be an occasional indulgence. Now these days, I don't drink any diet sodas at all. If I have a soda, I will get a full sugar soda because I'm just gonna treat myself. Like why fuck around? Why have this artificial sugar? Why go halfway? I'm just gonna go all the way, and that way I'm able to scratch that itch on occasion and not have it be a compulsion. But let's talk mainstream sodas because that's
I gotta bring up one that I left out with Cactus is Jarritos.
Sure.
The Mandarin Orange Jarritos, I really
the Tamarindo
enjoy.
is great too. Tamarindo.
Yes.
Most Jarritos flavors are really great.
Yeah, Jarritos I like a lot. I've tried. Like, I feel like anytime we go, like if we're in the, if we're in the South or whatever, like, is it Cheerwine, the red soda? Like,
Cheerwine in North Carolina. They also have Blenheim. Yeah. Blenheim's ginger ale in North Carolina is great, and New Grape in North Carolina is great. They have 3 sodas in North Carolina that are very, very good.
I'm a big fan of what is it? What is the grape one that I like? Not is it Crush soda?
Mm-hmm.
The Crush grape. I'm a big fan of Crush grape. But also I like the Fanta. I don't know if this is the Fanta in the States, but there's the Fanta that's similar to Orangina. It almost has like kind of like pulp in it. And I'm a big fan of that. I love
Nazi
Orangina.
soda. You know, Fanta is Nazi soda.
Is it really Fanta?
Fanta is, my understanding, if I remember the history of Fanta correctly, Coca-Cola was popular in Germany, and then during the war, they knew it would be a bad look to sell such an American product, so they created Fanta as like a way to keep making money in Germany without tangling up the Americanism of Coca-Cola in it. So it's a Coca-Cola-owned product that was initially created for the Nazis. It's a Nazi soda. Those are the bullet points. I may have one or that's the broad strokes. I'm sure some nerd will correct me.
You know what? No, I don't want a Fanta, Wags. I don't want to.
Yeah, you're right. It's specifically created in Germany in 1940 during World War II by the German Coca-Cola company. So there you go.
That's
Nazi
wild.
Soda.
Nazi soda.
Damn. So you know what? I guess I like that Nazi soda. Apparently, specifically the orange one, which is just saying that I like Orangina more than Fanta. But like I like that kind of like a little bit of pulp, refreshing kind of half soda sometimes too. Which the Fanta, I think that is only overseas because I think a Fanta orange in the States is just like an orange soda, right? Like
yeah. How do you like a San Pellegrino? I feel like that would be up your alley.
I love I'm a big fan of San Pellegrinos. I like them a lot. I don't see them as much anymore. I feel like that was like kind of like another thing in LA where you go to like a sandwich shop or something. They have some San Pellegrinos, but those are tasty. I like the I just got one right there. But he's talking more of the soda
right now.
I know that the flavored ones. Yeah,
I know the flavored ones, but I drink a lot of unflavored San Pellegrino, and that's partly how I scratch my soda itch.
With a little tinfoil on top of it.
A little effervescence. Yeah, no, I know which ones you're talking about.
Yeah.
I like those too. Those are good. But I can't have those every day. These I can have every day.
I always felt like LaCroix came in and stole the flavored San Pellegrino's thunder, which I never understood because I feel like, again, I'm not trying to be too divisive. I know that sometimes people on this show can set off a lot of controversy, but I think LaCroix is very overrated personally.
Oh, well, guess what?
Yeah.
You got a partner there. I think LaCroix is completely overrated.
What makes it special? Why do people obsess over LaCroix? Why?
No calories. It's just not caloric.
But
you have
just
added
like
sugar
every
in the San
other
Pellegrino.
seltzer. Every other
Yes.
seltzer also has no calories. So why are we acting like LaCroix is something like people refer to it as like, oh, I have seltzer or I have LaCroix, as if you're busting out the Cadillac of seltzers. It's a perfectly standard seltzer, and I'm getting a little tired of it on my end. I think you can hear the exasperation in my voice.
I'm 100% with you. I've talked about it on the show that I think LaCroix like makes me thirstier. It like dries me out more. That when I drink a LaCroix, I'm like, this isn't refreshing like I want it to be. I'm a fan of I'm a fan of Polar Seltzer. I'm a big Polar Seltzer fan. And Polar Orange Dry was what I was having a lot when I was back home. And that's one of my favorite sodas. Polar Orange Dry is fantastic, and that's got a little bit of like pulpiness in it.
I'd go so far as to say I feel like LaCroix tastes a little cheap. I feel like that tastes a little cheap, LaCroix. Cheap, dirty water. That's how I think of it.
I love it. I love it.
Wow.
This is a great hot take.
Do you really love it? Oh, all right.
No, I don't. No, I don't. I love the hot take. LaCroix, I could take or leave.
Okay.
I've had it a little bit, and I've never. It's like fine. It's replacement level. That sort of seltzer with a little bit of like that, just dusting of flavor. It doesn't actually have a flavor. It just has kind of like an essence of flavor. I think it's fine, but it's. I'd rather just have a plain seltzer. I'd rather just have a little bit of sparkling water.
Am I wrong in that people seem to think it's like a fancy thing to have? Like they seem to think it's a thing that if you bust it out at your barbecue, this has somehow made the barbecue better. And it's not. It's just LaCroix. They got lucky. And God bless them. I'm not trying to go make your money, LaCroix people, but we got to stop with this idolization of LaCroix. Take it off the pedestal.
It became a big thing in like writers' room. And I remember when I first had them, I was like, oh, these are like fun. And you can drink these instead of like drinking water during the day, which is, but you're right. There's just other seltzers that you could have too. I think this is like 10 years ago when I first tried them. I was like, oh, okay. And then I got so sick of them so fast, like immediately, like that year when we were writing the Birthday Boys show. So that's what we were like, LaCroix. And then even within that year or within 2 years, I was like, ugh. Fucking LaCroix. It's to me. There's better seltzers. To me it feels like it dries you out. It has the opposite effect that I want from a drink. I want to be. I want, and for me, I changed over to whatchamacallit, Spindrifts. I like Spindrifts. I like a little.
Yeah.
I like a little
decent.
touch of. Give me a little touch of fruit in there or whatever, or anything else. Even Polar Seltzers. I know Spindrifts themselves are even divisive to people, but LaCroix just it doesn't do it for me. There's something about it. I just fucking I don't like it.
I agree.
Like
it's kind of like a, it's almost like taking a teaspoon of cornstarch. It just kind of dries out your mouth a little bit. It's not refreshing, which is not what you want in a soft drink. But as far as the Spindrifts, I like the Spindrifts. It's amazing what a difference like 15 calories worth of juice will do. Yeah. Because that just has a little bit of juice.
Goes a long way.
It's so much better than the, artificially or naturally flavored, however they get it, LaCroix with a little bit of essence it's got.
Give me a Topo Chico, which just tastes comparatively compared to LaCroix. Topo Chico is that's the Rolls Royce. Bring that out at a cookout, and I would much rather have a fucking Topo Chico.
Topo Chico, bottled by the Coca-Cola Corporation. So
fuck.
I think I also think Spindrift too. You got to give credit to their graphic design. There's something about it that looks like very classic and classy. Whereas I look at LaCroix's graphic design, I'm like, this comes from the era of slap bracelets and rollerblades. It doesn't even look cool.
It does. You're right. It's like one of the it's like a hypercolor shirt or something. It's that glossiness where you're like, that's not that texture isn't supposed to, that's not supposed to be on a jacket.
No,
you know what I mean?
It looks like a drink that fucking Chester Cheeto would love, Like, why are we acting like this is the Mercedes of, can't do it anymore.
Yeah, no, people will be mad. You're right that people will be mad at us. There's people who are furious right now, but you know what? You got to hear it. You got to hear the truth. LaCroix's not that great. It's overrated.
I'm just glad to be in an environment where I no longer need to bite my tongue. And if there's one thing I've always heard about the Doughboys, it's that you guys aren't sitting around worrying about being woke. And the fact that I get to air out my true feelings about LaCroix has made me understand how true that is. And goddamn, am I psyched to be standing next to two other titans of truth telling right now.
Well, I did give a thumbs up to a Nazi soda just moments ago. So
the next Doughboys tour will be it'll be called like Uncanceled.
Can for like the soda. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Wags, we're doing something different today, and I like it. I like the fact that we're reviewing the Coke Freestyle machine,
right?
Which, Chris, I have a lot of thoughts on it, but I'm gonna tell you what. Should I get into what I did, Wags?
Let's before we do that, because I know we'll all have takes on this. I am curious, Chris. You talked a lot of artisan sodas. You gave us a lot of deep cuts. Let's just stick into kind of mainstream sodas.
Yeah,
what you might see at a fountain. Like, what are your faves?
I have a lot of love for Coke. I've read entire books on Coke, multiple books.
Wow.
There's one all about the history of Coca-Cola. Again, you'd be shocked how much it always echoes the American Times. Like, even like you'd be shocked. Coca-Cola was invented by a guy who then sold the formula off to like 7 different people and claimed each of them had it exclusive. So there were like decades of court battles about who even owned Coke. Coke was like, there were like congressional condemnations of Coke that clearly relate to the fact that it was initially popular in the black community, like American race relations tied into Coke. So Coke is a fascinating product. I'm with you on that, especially whether it's the Mexican Coke or the Passover yellow cap Coke. You get it with the real sugar. Yes. Really good stuff. Really good stuff.
Yeah.
As far as mainstream sodas that I think are cut above the rest, I really enjoy Wild Cherry Pepsi. I've always thought that Wild Cherry Pepsi just really nails what a cherry cola can be. I'm starting to come around on some of these like weird like Coke Vanilla Orange and like the Coke Mango. Initially, I thought they had like a real medicinal taste to them. Starting to come around on those. I'll always enjoy Mountain Dew. Just like it's super gross, and I know that, but like it also has a long history in Appalachia in particular. But I just think Mountain Dew is good. Those are the ones that jump out. I always point towards Wild Cherry Pepsi as like if you're only talking mainstream sodas, that's one that I just go, man, it just tastes good, and the balance of the flavors is really on target.
I'm glad that when you asked you about mainstream sodas, you weren't like, Bubble Up is pretty good. You could have just like fucking destroyed us and been like, what I think is mainstream soda is fucking Bubble Up. You fucking simps, you fucking dumbasses.
Well, I was gonna say from there you start to like dive deeply into like stuff that's gonna be popular regionally at best.
Sure.
Faygo.
Faygo, people in the Detroit area think of Faygo as a mainstream soda, but the rest of us, I think Faygo, it's funny, Faygo, for anybody out there listening, you've probably heard of it because the Insane Clown Posse are obsessed with it.
Yeah.
But do not write Faygo off as like a gimmicky soda. They like it because it's really, really good. There's a flavor in particular called Rock and Rye that people out there should try because, man, it is really different than anything else. I don't even know how to describe it. It's good. And Moon Mist, which I think is kind of like their Mountain Dew, is very good.
Wise, we had Rock and Rye.
We had Rock and Rye here. Our buddies Brett and Murder Brian were from.
That's right.
We're here for a Faygo themed podcast. We did.
That's right. And it was really good. I love soda. I would drink all of it. I truly would rather have that than like when people go out for like a steak and have a beer, I'd rather have a soda. But like, and I think that as a man who's like, you know, I'm about to be 40, I think people think that's strange, but I love it. It's fantastic. It's a thing to me. Like you were saying, that the American aspect of it is great. It feels like in the, especially 4th of July just rolled around, having a fucking ice cold soda and stuff. And it makes me sad that there's not as much stuff like that anymore. Wags, I always talk about Brigham's, but just like the like a fountain place where you can go and get different sodas or a cherry Coke or whatever. It's like hard to, and this kind of bleeds into my issue with the Coke Freestyle machine is like, yes, I love a cherry Coke. We were just at Pie and Burger, Wags. I took my mom and sister to Pie and Burger, and I had like an
classic Pasadena spot.
And I had like an actual cherry Coke, like, you know, like the cherry syrup in a Coke. And it was so fantastic. It was really great. And then I'm like, does the Coke Freestyle machine, does does it get it right? Does it get all these different sodas right? Does it nail all these sodas? And I don't know, but I know that we're going to get into it in a minute. I don't want to jump the gun,
let's get into it. I mean,
right.
The novelty of it is. I'll first say that if this was around when I was a child, I'd think it was the greatest thing in the world, because just the novelty of being able to come up with I was trying to do this with a soda fountain, even without options. I was just like, how I'll put in a third Dr. Pepper, a third Sprite, and a third, whatever the orange drink they have there, and just sort of see what happens, or the for a long time, my drink was the suicide, just getting some of every soda in the same cup. And so that you can do that experimentation in a more regimented way. And also, if you want to get next level with it, you can take your orange vanilla Coke and then also put in a spritz of, Pib Extra.
Wow. A suicide
with mango flavor or whatever.
A suicide on a Coke freestyle machine might be an actual suicide. There's 130 flavors or something, right? I feel like that would be like, I don't know what when you mix them all together, what color that would be, but it might be like, it might be toxic. It would be insane to mix all those together. But this is my fear of it, Wags, is like, does it kind of just take on one flavor? Do you really get the taste of a cherry Coke, which is my go-to, which is the thing I got last? But I should set up where I went. I went to Universal City Walk last night. I went to the AMC at Universal City Walk. I bought a ticket to Black Widow with a Doughboys card, and I went to see Black Widow. I got myself a tub of popcorn, Wags, and I got myself a soda, a large soda. And I went over to this freestyle machine, and I just started going. And by the way, I got this tub of popcorn. I went to put butter on it. The guy next to me puts butter on his, and then he puts ketchup on top of his popcorn.
No.
Come on.
What?
I was like seeing it, and I was like,
it's depraved.
I was like, both at the same time, like, I was like, ugh, that's fucking gross. That's making me fucking, I feel like I'm gonna puke. But then also at the same time, I was so excited to just see anything to talk about for the show that I was thrilled. I was thrilled to see this guy putting fucking, it was fucking nasty. And I like looked at him kind of, and like he looked at me and I looked away. I was like nervous to watch him do it, but he was putting ketchup on the fucking top of his popcorn.
That man, Colin Hanks.
That's why he's banned.
Yeah.
But I got myself some popcorn and butter, and then I went over to the Coke freestyle machine. Should I start saying what I got, Wags?
Yeah, wait, let's I think we're gonna each have gotten so many things that maybe we should kind of alternate a bit. Gethard, like the Coke freestyle machine, I mean, when were you first introduced to it, and what was your latest visit?
Like many, as Mitch just mentioned, I feel like many of us, right? The movie theater lobby is where the Coke freestyle machine kind of enters your life. I was very lucky that I was out of town working a week ago in Virginia, and I happened to enter a place to buy lunch that had a Coke freestyle machine. So I was able to mess around with one within the past, 10 days, which felt really good knowing that we were going to talk about them for this podcast. And I have a very, very similar reaction to, I think, what you guys are expressing, which is, in theory, this should be one of the greatest devices, especially for anyone's childhood. In execution, I don't know that I've ever walked away anything but slightly underwhelmed, which is a shame because, right, the premise of a Coke freestyle machine is that you effectively can be your own Willy Wonka, right? You can be like a mad scientist and make a cool thing. I always feel like it comes out tasting like diet soda with cough syrupy flavors in it. I always walk away with that feeling.
That is the flavorings on them to me always feel like a medicinal, like you were saying, or just very syrupy. There's something going on with the mix sometimes, and I find that it's also a sort of thing of like, you can go to a machine and it can be like the Coke syrup can be almost gone, or the bubbles aren't as good on this machine, and so it can affect. I think that you have chances of getting a good version at certain Coke freestyle machines, but these things are like workhorses. If you go to AMC at Universal City Walk, these things are just being used constantly for like 15 hours a day. You know what I mean? It's just they're just getting there's so many people just using them constantly, and then you'll see all the dots go out on the screen of sodas you can't select because something's going on. And I feel like it's a thing that like they put the syrup in at the beginning of the day and then they walk away from it, and whatever you get is what you get. But if you go and get like a cherry Coke and the Coke syrup is low, I feel like that's going to taste like a heavy cherry syrupy mess. You know,
Right.
I think your chances of getting that. Also, Wags, I was going to say, I think one of the first places I saw this, movie theaters for sure, but I think it was All About the Bread was maybe one of the first places I saw it. Like there's like weird places in LA.
It's a fancy
that, like,
pants sandwich shop in West Hollywood.
Fancy pants. Didn't Funny or Die get that for lunch like every day at one point?
I mean, okay, well, yeah, it wasn't it's like an individual.
So your free lunch every day was Fancy Pants is what you're trying to
No.
say.
Well, wait, free lunch every day. Come on. That was like on occasion.
Oh, they didn't buy you lunch all the time?
No, if there was like a celebrity there to impress.
Please, we have Screech here. We need to. Oh, I shouldn't have
Yeah.
chose the guy. I realized a second into saying his name that he has passed away. Rest in peace, Screech.
R.I.P.
I should have said Urkel or somebody. But sure, it's fancy enough. But it was one of the places that I noticed at first. I think movie theaters are maybe the place where they exist more than anywhere. And it kind of scares me that it's going to be. My fear is that it's just going to be the thing that takes over everywhere. And like when you go to the ArcLight, they had an actual cherry Coke spigot. And so you'd get that, and it was great. It tasted. I sneezed again. God damn it.
No
Wow.
warning that time.
Wow.
Completely caught off guard.
I am
Fuck.
judging you hard.
This is just like, oh God, this is karma. Shouldn't have laughed at that podcast all those years ago. I'm sneezing all over the place.
There's some young kid listening to the show right now, and like they're gonna meet up with their friends and just laugh over your sneezes. Gonna be like, this is the funniest thing in the world. They're gonna have inside jokes about it, and then someday they'll start a podcast of their own and talk about it.
Oh God, sounds like a piece of shit. I lost track. I don't know what the fuck I was saying. The sneeze threw me off so much.
Cherry Coke spigot
Yes,
at the movie.
yes.
And you're right. I love Cherry Coke is my go-to at the movies.
And
Oh, yeah, for sure.
When you get it straight from the source, when it's that actual cherry Coke, that's all that's on the label. That's what you're getting. You're getting the pure cherry Coke mixture. It's better. It just is better. Like there's no doubt in my mind. Wags, do you agree with that?
Give me the dedicated apparatus. Give me the thing that has its one purpose and does its job. And because I think one of the issues with the Coca-Cola Freestyle, and I don't have any personal experience with maintaining these sorts of things, but I do remember at one of my jobs when I worked in the video game industry, they got, the boss at one point bought like a fancy automatic espresso machine. And the whole thing was like, oh, look, there's this fancy espresso machine. How cool is this? The novelty wore off almost immediately because there were like 12 different things that had to be changed constantly. You just constantly had to open this thing out and swap out different components and swap out different, bags and nozzles. And it was just like, and it was always breaking and things would be so inconsistent. And I think that's the issue with a Coca-Cola Freestyle is it's just so, it's so ambitious to have this kind of black box that any liquid could come out of, and there's just so many points of failure, and it makes for a very inconsistent product. That said, overall, I like it, and I had a nice experience with my most recent Coca-Cola Freestyle outing. I went to a Burger King. Now, the Coca-Cola Freestyle, if you haven't messed around with it, or if you're just looking for one to try and sip along with the show, there's a Coca-Cola Freestyle Finder, and it'll say any restaurants or theaters or what have you that have these on their premises. I got myself 2 small cups so I could double fist, and I got myself a small BK fries to use as a palate cleanser between sips. And like I said, I don't do diet drinks.
Well done.
Like,
You were double fisting?
That's dedication.
Well, no, I just it was easier, so I didn't have to keep making trips. Already, I felt judged just making multiple trips and taking like a quarter cup of soda and then drinking it and then coming right back. Like I could see people were already kind of clocking me for doing this. So
I was standing right at the machine, which, by the way, the AMC ones, they have the silver Coke Freestyle machines, which I'm not sure if that's like an upgraded version
From those
or what.
big red ones?
There's the big red ones, and then these these are silver bad boys.
Oh yeah, I've seen those.
Yeah, and why is your espresso thing was just going to make me think like that's the issue is like I bet you that these Coke Freestyle machines are not getting all the syrups changed out on a regular basis. It's just impossible. I mean, like, and no AMC employee should have to fucking be doing that all the time either. I mean, there was like 6 of them in that AMC alone. So
it's like imagine a machine that would replace like a Starbucks barista.
yes.
Like that would be an extraordinarily complex piece of machinery that would also not do anywhere near of good of a job. And honestly, if you're going to try to have this concept, like if you're going to try to do this properly, you'd have an actual soda jerk. We'd throw back to those days. We'd throw it back to those days, and you have someone actually making these concoctions
like
for you.
Jackfruit sort of situation.
Okay.
Chris, what were I cut you off there. What were you going to say?
Don't throw it back to me now that you. So you go ahead, ham-fist in the same joke you ham-fisted in before. Now I gotta cover your ass. This is why I stopped doing improv. Everybody who ever wanted to make some fucking ham-fisted thing then goes fix it. No, I'm with you.
No, hold on a second. I'll go deeper. Wags, what type of soda do you use for a soda jerk?
All right.
Like what's like a lubricated soda that you like to use for your soda jerk? What soda do you like to jerk off with is what I'm trying to say. Go ahead. Tell me.
I was just going to say that I think one of the things that's so frustrating about Coke Freestyle machines, and I wonder if we'd all agree based on what we've said, is those big red machines. When you first saw them, did you not feel like a 7-year-old kid who was excited when you realized what was going on? Like the actual machine itself.
Mm-hmm.
And when you realize, like, what is that? And then you go, oh, that's a soda machine where I can formulate any flavor myself.
Mm-hmm.
It's an exciting thing. And I
agree with that.
I feel like the delivery of the product, like I almost feel like if the machine looked worse, I'd be happier with the drink that came out. Because the machine gets me excited. You know what I mean?
It's a very cool looking machine. But I'm sorry, quickly. Wags, what soda do you use to jerk off with?
So I got myself.
You're not going to answer?
I started off with a straight up Coca-Cola, and I'm just like, how does this thing do a Coca-Cola?
Hold on.
I'll say,
can't you just say cream soda or something and make me happy?
Oh, that's good. Yeah, cream soda, Mitch.
All right,
that's what I use.
Thank you.
Spreckers or Boylan's? Spreckers or Boylan's?
Spreckers. I was like, how is this thing going to do just like a straight up Coke? And it did fine.
Mm-hmm.
I tried that, and then the other one I tried for my first round was, this is one I read on a bunch of different lists, is like, try this is surprisingly good, is the Coke Raspberry. And I found it delightful.
Wow.
It's like a liquid raspberry chocolate truffle. It's just like it's a great little sweet drink with a lot of dense flavor. I thought the raspberry flavor worked really, really well and didn't seem too artificial.
Interesting.
Yeah. I was surprised by that.
So like I said, I was at the AMC. I had no issue just kind of standing there and just drinking. I was just trying different flavors, sitting there and drinking it. I'll tell you something that I found overall after I name what everything I had. So I did a high C orange vanilla. Mm-hmm. That was one of the things I got. I got myself a Powerade strawberry, and then I also got, I'll stop there. And this is what I was going to say. The non-carbonated drinks I kind of had more success with.
Interesting.
The strawberry Powerade was good. I didn't even know Powerade had a strawberry. I don't see it. I don't see it at 7-Eleven.
I don't think they bottled it. I think it's just in the Freestyle machine.
It was really good. It was fantastic. And that orange vanilla high C was great. It was just a hint of vanilla with that orange high C. That's the McDonald's favorite, which they have brought back since, but they discontinued it for a while. But I really like that high C orange, and the orange vanilla was really good. So those are my two non-carbonated or non-fizzy drinks. And
what was the issue with? Because you said the non-carbonated worked a little bit better. Was your issue that the carbonation level wasn't good on that machine? Because mine were all well carbonated.
No, they were well carbonated. I just felt like these tasted closer to what they were supposed to be like. I felt like some of the other ones like they didn't mix too well. So I also got before I get into my sodas, I got a Dasani sparkling raspberry peach, which looked looked very orangey. Like it looked. Here's a picture of it. It looks like a soda.
It's just holding up his phone.
But you see the cup. You see within the cup.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just looks like an orange drink.
Yeah, it looks like an orange drink, but it was pretty light and not bad, but it wasn't great. It was a LaCroix situation for me. I didn't love it. It has like 5 calories or 10 calories, I think, with the flavoring. But why was it that dark? Why I don't understand why it was that that color of orange. Should I just finish? Should I just tell you what my sodas that I got? I got a mellow yellow limeade, which I thought was like interesting, and I thought that was actually pretty tasty. And then a Pib Extra Cherry, which I liked a lot. This is one of the good performers, and also a vanilla Diet Barks root beer, which was also really good.
Okay, so we're getting into some interesting territory here because your machine had Pib, mine had Dr. Pepper. And I didn't realize any Coca-Cola Freestyles even had Dr. Pepper, but that was available on mine. The Diet Barks Vanilla, I got the straight up Barks Vanilla, and I will say that's one of my favorites. I kind of wanted more vanilla, but I do think it was just, and maybe I'm wrong on that, but I do think that just like the mix of root beer and vanilla was just so smooth and delicious. I like the bite of Barks, but it kind of took the edge off a little bit. I thought that was a delight.
Yeah. Barks, see, I didn't. This also brings up the fact of missed opportunity for Mountain Dew, because I feel like, Chris, I'm also a fan of Mountain Dew, and I feel like a Mountain Dew freestyle, like in the freestyle machine, you'd have a lot of a Baja Blast. You'd have a lot of fun with stuff in there. So,
well, it's a Pepsi product. I wonder if Pepsi is coming out with their own equivalent of a freestyle machine.
They are. It's the Pepsi Spire.
Okay,
and
Pepsi
it's in limited
Spire,
locations.
That sounds evil.
It really does. Like an
That's
obelisk.
a bad name. They're going to change that name before it goes wide, right?
I would think so. Yeah, it's bad branding. It sounds ominous. But let's talk a little bit, Gethard, about what you got on your trip.
I got there's one thing I got that I really enjoyed, which is so simple, and it's not the most adventurous thing, but we've all had a Coke with a lemon squeezed into it, and that's pretty good. But when you just get the Coke lemon on a freestyle machine, it's pretty smart to just have a lemon syrup infused with your Coke. I really, really liked that. And then I tried something that I've often tried, which is, I think maybe, because it's so, it's very strange listening to you guys talk, is we all said that we find these machines rather underwhelming. But then you listed a number of combinations that you really liked. So there's something psychologically there, right? But I tried something, one of the things I was most excited about when I first encountered one of these was to have not just a cherry Coke, not just a vanilla Coke, but a cherry vanilla Coke. Never good out of the freestyle machine. I feel like that's the perfect example of a thing that those things are much better separate than together, and it kind of undercuts the potential of this this sort of device as a whole. But that's what I'm sitting here listening to you guys going, we all said that we don't love these machines. And like Mitch, you said, yeah, it's a kind of a missed opportunity. And then you listed like 6 things that you were like, that was very good, actually.
Right.
I mean, I'll say this. A lot of that is from past experiences with it. Like last night, it was hitting better than it has before. Last night, like I was like, oh, it feels like it feels like all the fucking syrups are kicking. It feels like I'm actually tasting Coke, because my last drink was a cherry Coke that I got because that is just, I went and watched the movie and I had a cherry Coke. But it felt like all the syrups were there and it did feel carbonated. I feel like sometimes though, like I said, those things can be off. There's like there's just so many factors in these damn machines that you don't know what you're gonna get. And by the way, I was gonna say, do you think I just looked at some synonyms for Spire? So Pepsi, it could be Pepsi Steeple. Is that any less? Ooh. Is that any less evil? Or Pepsi Apex?
Apex is great.
Pepsi Apex. Pepsi Apex is good. I'm excited for that too, just because I love Baja Blast. I love that Baja Blast is like the fun Taco Bell. It's like Taco Bell's Frosty is what we've basically said on here before, but like to try all the different dew flavors. The dew flavors are
Code
fun.
Red, yeah.
Code Red, the USA one, Red, White, and Dew is out now or whatever. Like all those things are fun to me. So having a Pepsi machine that does it too is great. My fear is that I'm just never going to have a Cherry Coke spigot again. And that Cherry Coke last night was not as good. It didn't taste as good. That was like my big thought at the end of the night. I finally filled my cup all the way up with a Cherry Coke, went in to watch the movie, and I was like, this does not taste as good as a Cherry Coke straight from the source.
Right.
Just because we brought up Mountain Dew, I do want to say, you guys, are you aware that there's a subset of the soda community that is just the people who obsess over the different flavors of Mountain Dew? And this is true. There's people who they try to chase down all the limited edition Mountain Dews, and that's their whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I love that. And it's that other thing that we were saying earlier is like, I try not to drink full sugar sodas, but like, I want to try every Dew. I in my notes app on my phone, I have Red, White, and Dew. Like, try Red, White, and Dew because I want to try Red, White, and Dew.
It's like on your to-do list.
It's on my to-do list.
Your 2 DEW list.
My notes app is just mostly like snacks and sodas that I've seen that I write down and I want to try. But yeah, I think it's, and I think that, you know what, we've said this with Taco Bell. It's like, and we're mad at them for pulling back on this a little bit lately, but it's that Willy Wonka factor, like you're saying, of Mountain Dew does do that, but they give you that product, and Taco Bell did do that. And there's a new way to eat cheese and beef and whatever all mixed up together. But and that's the promise of the Coke Freestyle machine, but it doesn't always deliver. And there are fun stuff that I wouldn't try, and I think maybe it just comes down to like, I'm boring and I want a Cherry Coke. You know what I mean? Like having a power. And I did overhear last night a kid talking about like a Powerade and how he was going to have this Powerade, and I was like, oh, that's interesting, but I'm not going to a theater and like getting a Powerade. That's almost a better thing to have at like Disney World or whatever. Oh, you can get a fucking grape Powerade if you want to, or a sparkling water. At the movie theaters, I want just a good soda, a Coke or a Cherry Coke. What's
your relationship with ice in a fountain drink?
Great question.
I like it. I know that some people are like, go light ice or no ice. I mean, no ice seems crazy to me because
I'm a no icer.
Are you
no
really?
Ice?
I'm a no icer.
Oh my God, Chris, what the fuck?
Yeah, I struggle with it. Well, Does
it hurt your teeth?
Listen, I'm like, I'll tell you right now, like, I'm not kidding. This is not staged. Like, on my desk in front of me right here, glass bottle of a Red Ribbon soda. Like, I keep the Dublin. We could talk all day just about the Dublin Bottling Works out of Texas.
Wow.
Their green apple. So I love the glass bottle. And it really, it almost ties into what you were saying about having the dedicated spigots for these flavors.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever goes into a glass bottle, that's what the bottler wanted to go in there. Mm-hmm. And a glass bottle retains that carbonation so well, it's what comes out of there. That's why I don't think plastic bottles or cans do it nearly as good a job. I trust when I'm drinking directly from a glass bottle that I'm tasting what the person who formulated this wants me to taste. And I feel like ice waters that down. Now, I've heard from people, this is something that sometimes other people who collect sodas have given me guff about, where they'll say when people calibrate their fountain soda syrups, they are doing it supposedly with the idea that you're going to have a 1/3 cup full of ice, and that's part of the calibration is they expect you to have it there. But for me, I go, what happens with me with ice is it's good right out of the gate, but as that ice melts, now you start to get watered down pockets. You get some of those pockets where maybe this sip was a little warmer than the sip right next to it. If I readjust the straw, now it's going right through the ice instead of off to the side of the ice. I could taste the difference there. So it's tough. Am I anti-ice or am I just so devoted to the purity of a glass bottle? That's the question.
Yeah.
Well, I'm with you in the fact that I do think like having an ice, like having an ice cold but no ice in it bottle of Coca-Cola, I think is great. Like
That's the idea.
I would enjoy that. But when it comes to getting something from like the Coke Freestyle machine, I'm just not sure if the fizzy water that they mix with the syrup is cold enough. That's the thing that I'm afraid of.
Right.
Is that you're gonna get like a, and also maybe it's a testament to also again these freestyle machines where I'm just like the idea of, because like a warm bottle of a Mexican Coke, I could drink that and be like, this is good, and it tastes like Coke. It's just warm. And then the idea of a Coke Freestyle machine, Coke with no ice, I'm just like, that just feels like sitting syrup. It doesn't feel the same as a bottled Coca-Cola to me. It feels like something's wrong there. Like I feel like ice is almost necessary. It's necessary to have in there. But I don't know. So you'll go and fill it up and just have no ice in the.
I generally, with a fountain drink, have no ice. And I see the look on both of your faces.
Wow, I'm shocked.
I can feel the indignation of the listeners. I just don't trust that ice is watering this down in a way that was intended by the creator of this drink. And I want to respect them. And maybe I'm overthinking this one. But I overthink soda in general.
I like the stance. I know. So you're a soda aficionado. So
who are we to question you?
No, yes. I think there's a lot of people in the soda world who would say I'm an idiot for this, and I'll also be the first to admit there are a lot of sodas. I would say, especially root beers, where they have to be super cold for you to really get that's where you start to really taste the difference. So I understand, but I want like a frosty bottle. Way more than I want ice in a cup. But it's a divisive thing, and I know it. And are people sitting there now disqualifying me as someone whose opinions matter? Sure, but I'm not going to sit here and be a fucking liar either, okay?
Well, they've disqualified our opinions a long time ago, so don't. You're now just with us. You're now finally at our level, an hour into the show. But I think that I know people who do light ice. I know people who do heavy ice. I think my buddy, Justin Kiley Wags, my good friend, one of my best friends in the world. I think he goes heavy ice in his Coke in his fountain
I can't
drink.
do heavy ice. I gotta do I'll do the standard, a third to a half full of ice. My ice preference for the fountain is just yes, I think a lot of times that soda out of the fountain is closer to room temp than it is to cold. And I want something that's cool for it to be refreshing. I also think it imposes a little bit of discipline on me. It keeps me from having too much soda. I think just like the ice buffer, I think just has less sugar in that cup. Yeah. And I'll say one other thing, Chris, I know you don't drink, but I drink, and bartenders will often say,
Mitch wants to add,
Mitch wants to add heavily. Yes, Mitch, I drink heavily. And let me tell you which tequila I jack off with.
It's just got real.
All I said is, he drinks. I didn't even say heavily.
It's got real.
You made a face.
Oh, well, you're trying to say I'm ham-fisted joking about how you drink too much? Well, guess what? I am. You drink too much.
Which tequila?
Casamigos.
That's the
it's
one
Clooney's.
you jerk off with?
Yeah. Got a jack with Clooney's. So
is Clooney on the bottle?
A bartender will be like the ice that's in the drink as you drink it over time is the drink will develop from the ice melting. It'll kind of change the character for it, and that's kind of by design. And I don't know if I think that's probably just some sort of craft cocktail hoo-ha. But
can I quickly just say to those bartenders, fuck off. You just need to fuck off.
When I do ice, I prefer a crushed ice in my soda. I do like that.
I like a crushed ice.
I think it spreads the cold more uniformly. What I hate the most is when you hold down the ice thing and you get that quick burst of ice, and then you hear the rattling in the ice machine, and none's coming out, and then a bunch more spits out. And at this point, I don't really know what I've got in there. At this point, this is an unreliable machine, and I wish I had gotten no ice. Crushed ice, at least I know it's landing in a way where it's distributing very evenly throughout the drink.
Now, Chris, there's no cold factor, right? Like it doesn't bother your teeth or anything like that? Because I know people who can't deal with if ice touches their gums, they go crazy and they don't want, that's why they don't have it in their sodas. But that's not the scenario for you. It's just that you don't.
For me, I just have an OCD thing of I want the drink at the end to be the same drink I had at the beginning. And I think very often with ice, that's not going to be the case. Maybe that's on me. Maybe it makes me a fucking psycho. I don't know. But it's what I like. And I don't feel like sitting around and fucking apologizing any longer for my ice preferences.
I love it.
I like it. I like it a lot. We like strong opinions on this show. You just won your spot on the uncanceled tour.
I love it, man. I can't wait. Let's tell some truths, boys. Let's get out there and tell it like it really is, man. Everyone's too sensitive. Everyone's too sensitive. Action should not have consequences.
This
we don't
theater
like
is
ice.
An unsafe space. We can't handle it. Shut up.
We hate ice. And then everyone holds up a Fanta soda.
You're not allowed in this show unless you show me an unfilled out vaccination card.
Oh, God. You know what? When it comes to Colin Wags, we'll go hard right. It's our plan.
Oh, it's always the escape route. You always have that in your back pocket. Turn hard right. You'll be welcomed with open arms.
The 5 revolving comedians that have chosen to go hard right will be our guests from there on out.
I mean, it looks like probably our Patreon would go up.
Yeah,
anecdotally, just depressingly enough. So I also got myself a mellow yellow peach, which was close to a cactus cooler, Mitch. I thought this was going to be too sweet, but it was citrusy and refreshing. I thought this was great. And I used to have cactus cooler all the time growing up. I thought I was like, I would 100% get this again. Sprite grape, not for me. Fanta lime, not for me. Minute Maid orange lemonade, not for me. Cherry vanilla Dr. Pepper. I know you mentioned the Coke didn't work, and I agree with you. It's Unga Pachka, but something about the cherry vanilla Dr. Pepper really clicked for me. And if I was at the movies, I was like, I think I might take a full cup of this because I know it's the flavor is so dense and that it's going to slow me down. I'm going to pace myself. I'm not going to chug this thing. You couldn't chug it, but I don't know. I thought the components all worked really well. Then again, good luck finding a free Coca-Cola Freestyle that has Dr. Pepper. That's a crapshoot. Yeah.
Well, is Dr. Pepper just like one of those like such a great soda on its own? Does it just work well with any of these syrupy syrups that you got? Who knows? I mean, I don't know.
I don't drink Dr. Pepper.
You don't?
Wow.
No, it's a moral.
Do you drink any pepper sodas?
I'm taking a moral stand.
Wow.
Do you know about Dr. Pepper versus Dr. Pepper, the court case?
So I've heard a little bit about its origins, but I don't know this specifically.
I don't know if I know it.
So Dublin Dr. Pepper was this drink, and you guys definitely remember it being LA based as long as you have. Remember, you used to be able to get Dr. Pepper in these smaller bottles, glass bottles.
Yes.
You had them at the Woods, actually, that place at the end of the block that UCB was on. Mm-hmm. Those were cane sugar Dr. Peppers made by a bottling plant in Dublin. That was one of the original Dr. Pepper bottling plants, like from its earliest days. And throughout all the corporate changes and everything, they kept bottling. They had their zone where they were allowed to sell a certain radius outside of Dublin, Texas. And when all the soda companies got together, I believe in the late 70s, early 80s, and said, we're switching from sugar to corn syrup. Let's all do it at once, right? And this is all because of tariff laws and taxes and the bottom line. Dublin Dr. Pepper was like, we'll spend a couple extra bucks. We're sticking with the original formula. Dublin Dr. Pepper will have the cane sugar be made the way it always has. So people realized all over Texas, I can drink the Dr. Pepper that's the exact one from my youth if I go to Dublin and I get it. This became a thing where like families in Texas would drive for miles and hours to get their Dublin Dr. Pepper because they wanted it the way they remembered it. Now things start moving with Mexican Coke. People start realizing, oh, you can put out, right? Mountain Dew puts out the throwback Mountain Dew. Pepsi puts it out in that cool looking can. Dr. Pepper eventually experiments. Let's put out a cane sugar Dr. Pepper. People flip out. They go, we can be making a lot of money off of this, except we got this little bottling plant in Dublin that's always going to be the OGs. Like, even if we put it out, people are going to know you can get it real from this one other place.
Oh, so, God, I hate where this is going.
They found out that Dublin Dr. Pepper had started shipping on the internet. They said you violated your sales clause. Like, you're not supposed to sell outside a certain number of miles. They're like, well, it's mail order. We're not setting up shop. There was a court case where it was Dr. Pepper versus Dr. Pepper, and they shut down the Dublin's ability to bottle Dr. Pepper.
God.
And now Dublin puts out a lot of great sodas. I just held up. I have a bottle of their green apple soda right in front. you ever see a Dublin soda from Dublin, Texas. It's a really fantastic company that puts out great drinks. But ever since Dr. Pepper sued Dr. Pepper and won and shut down the little guy, I have staunchly refused to drink Dr. Pepper ever since.
That's so wild. And that sucks.
It's corporate greed.
It's crazy to me. I've said this to Wags before, but the way the world has what the world has come to is like, where when I'm in like the Northeast, I'm rooting for Papagino's and D'Angelo's, which are just like smaller corporate entities. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm like I now have to root for like I'm rooting for Dr. Pepper, but the less evil Dr. Pepper. It's so fucked up that they wouldn't just people liked it. They liked your product. They liked it from there. There were people who were working there that were making money and being successful with your product. They were still seeing revenue from that product, right? Like it was still Dr. Pepper that was being sold.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think it was all like, there'd been acquisitions and they'd kind of closed ranks, and some of these original bottling plants still sort of exist quasi-separately, and they just realized there was a lot more money to be made if they had full control over this. And
this fucking sucks.
It's stupid. It's just kind of mean. It's just kind of dumb and mean.
Yeah,
I think
it is.
Dr. Pepper's kind of dumb and kind of mean, so I don't drink no Dr. Pepper.
Wow.
Dr. Pepper himself was also one of the doctors that Trump hired during COVID. It was like one of Trump's guys. That was like, it's not that. Don't worry about it. It's not that big of a deal. You don't have to wear masks.
Dr. Fauci versus Dr. Pepper.
Well, why should we get into our final thoughts on these Coke Freestyle machines?
I think we've discussed this more than enough. So let's get to our final thoughts of the Coca-Cola Freestyle.
Man, what a bummer. Fucking
sorry, I feel like I was just a huge
No, I
love it. I love the historical context.
That is a fascinating story. I'm mad now. I'm mad at Dr. Pepper. When I started the day, I didn't think I'd end the day being mad at Dr. Pepper.
So we'll each go around, give our closing argument, if you will, on the Coca-Cola Freestyle, and then end by giving it a rating from 0 to 5 forks. Chris, you are our guest, noted soda connoisseur. Your thoughts, your fork score.
I will say that I think we're going to look back at this time in history and realize that we were in the Neanderthal stages of this system. I feel like in a number of years from now, there's going to be the ability to make something truly fantastic at the touch of a fingertip, and I hope that they do that conscientiously and responsibly with respect towards the history of sodas. As of right now, I feel like the technology has outpaced the product itself. The coolness of the Coca-Cola Freestyle is in pushing all the buttons and feeling like you're at the controls. I feel like in a few years we'll catch up. So right now I'm going to go right down the middle and say 2.5 forks, just because I understand what it is and I see the potential, but they're not there yet. But they'll catch up. They'll get there. I'll love these machines one day.
That's a pretty perfect review. Should we go straws? Should it be something different from forks for this one? Should it be a straw? Is that crazy? No, Wags doesn't like it.
Emma's nodding, but I say no. It's still forks.
All right, it's forks. It's forks. All right, forks. You can eat a soda with a fork. So, like I said, I was at AMC. I went and saw Black Widow, which I saw the movie. So it started off on a weird note with the guy getting ketchup on his popcorn, which
This is in Black Widow?
Yeah.
That's the cold open?
That's the cold open. Is fucking Taskmaster has a bucket of popcorn, puts ketchup on it. And also, here's a weird thing. Nuvi, like Nuvi, they promote using your phone to play games before the movie. I'm like, you shouldn't promote using your phone before the movie, right? Like, what's
they don't give a shit. They don't give a shit about the actual exhibition of the movie. They're just trying to make money.
There was a Tomorrow War ad before the trailers because it's Amazon. So there was but it was nice to see it on an actual movie screen for once. And then there was also an ad for the Coke Freestyle app, which I did not use, Wags. And I know that you, and maybe in your breakdown you'll give us some detail on that. But I'm with Chris. It is just so completely down the middle here, and it feels like things will get better. Like when it gets to the point where I am getting a full sugar cherry Coke out of a Coke Freestyle machine, and it tastes like the real thing. It tastes like it's straight from the spigot. Then I feel like we'll have a success here. It doesn't feel that way yet. I like the idea of it. I do think it's fun to have, and you know what? I think it's fun to put all these flavors on display. Like there should be more available. It's like a lot of the times you go to a movie theater and you can't even get a cherry Coke. So the idea of a Coke Freestyle, like, that is great. Anything that you could want and you can think up, you can make. But like Chris said, it's just not there yet. It's in, and I'll go, I should just do handhold. I'm gonna 2.5 forks. I'm gonna go handholding for this because you nailed it. You nailed the review completely. It's just, it is what it is. It's got a ways to go, but I'm excited for the potential of it. And I also fear the thing of it doesn't get better, and this is the best it will ever be, and then it takes over everything on earth. Like it's in every McDonald's, it's at every movie theater, and that's all there is. And that, to me, is scary, and I hope that that's not the case. But I hope it's a world where these machines just get better and better. And we can, and then hey, maybe we get some wild sodas in there, some sodas that you don't hear about as much. I mean, we'll never will, because unless Coca-Cola buys them up. But it would be great to have some weirder sodas on display, Wags.
Yes,
a Doritos machine.
They'll cycle in some seasonal flavors, but they're just like variants of Surge. I tried one of the Surge Cherry Rush, which it was a confusing. It tasted diet, but it wasn't. I was just like, and I didn't even get the cherry from it. So it'd be nice if they get some more artisan sodas in there, but that's just contrary to what their whole brand is. I would say I did use the app, and the app's not crap. It works. It is kind of dazzling, honestly, because you scan a QR code on the machine. It opens up that individual freestyle machine, and then you can select your flavor on the screen on your phone. And then if you want to pour your soda, you put you put your cup underneath it, and then you hold down the pour button on your phone. And when you release it on your phone, it stops. It's kind of like, it's honestly one of the more amazing things I've experienced with my phone interfacing with another device. I was just this is kind of cool that you can control this thing, and it's pretty much real time. But that said, it was just so much more clunky than actually using the machine, even though it worked well, that I just ended up using the machine. I think one thing we maybe haven't touched on here is with all the options that you're presented with, you end up with analysis paralysis, and you end up trying to decide what's going to be the perfect combination, and that can take you a little bit too long at the machine. And then also, if you're in you're in a busy restaurant, you're in a busy movie theater, that creates a bottleneck, because people are dilly-dallying there trying to figure out exactly what concoction they want to commit to, and that just that slows everything down. So I think there's a double-edged sword to having this many options, and that's that's kind of like a larger thing with the food industry.